Red alert! Set an intention. Go to Salon Trek.
We're also thrilled to announce that we now serve Raktajino.
Hoopla!
Ahoy, hoy, friends, and welcome to the Salon. I'm your host, Stan Williams, and I am also the mascot of a rival school. Tonight, we are talking about Star Trek Starfleet Academy Episode 3 of its inaugural season. And I remember its name because it is Vitus Reflux, written by Alex Taub and Kylie Rossiter, directed by Doug Arnowski. And I probably butchered all three of your names, and I do apologize. Before we dive in, though, like and subscribe. Follow us on Patreon. Give us money on the podcast places. Jumble those words around however you like. It's Thursday, near-ish 6:30, and we are live on YouTube at Salon Trek everywhere. Now, to get into this episode, I need to beam in my crew, starting, of course, with my number one, plant analogies, maybe. Maybe he's meditating on trust. Who's to say? Trevor, how you do?
He's my number one dad.
Speaking of daddies, here's Will.
Oh, please don't say that to me.
I
want you to say that. Don't ever, please, no. Daddy block.
Yeah.
You get blocked, bitch.
I used to, and then I am like it. Like, I mean, look at me. The gray. It's here. I just needed a segue. One of these days, I will have a segue that works for you, and today is not that day.
No, you won't.
Nah,
no, you
it's
won't.
fine.
That's not how the show works. You don't do segues, Stan.
Here's Benji.
Hey, Daddy.
Hey.
One daddy to another.
Yeah. Speaking of daddies, here's Krista. How you do?
Oh, Poppy.
And another daddy, here's Joanne. Oh, you're on mute? No. You know she read us for filth.
Yeah, she did.
I just said, not the mama, not the mama.
I just love that she was like the dad on a conference call when she was on mute.
Yeah.
There you go.
Beautiful. Well, welcome, friends. We got a new episode of a new Star Trek series. Get excited. Tonight, as I said, we are talking about episode 3 of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. And, we're going to do that. But, there's just something we have to do first. We always, you guys know, before we can get into it, we must set an intention.
This is obvious, but don't forget to set an intention when you light it, or you're just going to be wasting the wax.
I'm late.
Indeed, we must. And you're too late, Stan. No, it's fine. You're
But I set an intention.
That's true.
It's here.
Speaking of setting an intention, to set an intention tonight. Now that's what you call a segue, bitch.
That's how you do that.
I thought it would be fun if I unplugged my headphones and plugged them back in, and then we went around the room and shared in honor of the games of tonight's episode. I thought it would be fun if we just rejected the laplings. Let's just get rid of laplings altogether, and each of us decided on what we thought Starfleet Academy's new mascot should be in replacing the laplings. As always, I'll start us off by sharing that I had a very different answer until about an hour and a half ago, watching the Text Trek First Reaction stream, which is not directly affiliated with the Salon, but they are friends of the Salon and we are friends of Text Trek. And I've decided that Rachel from Text Trek should be the new mascot. It's She
Co-sign.
volunteered. She volunteered to be the mascot on the laser tag, not laser tag team, and I think she should just be the mascot for Starfleet Academy. I love it, and I'm not changing my opinion. So there it is. Oh, and there she is in the comments. Hi, dear. So with that, I'd love to hear who you think the new Academy mascot should be. Krista, my dear, take it away.
I didn't like this question.
That was not the question.
I didn't like it. There was too many things to think about, but there was so much like rampant testosterone in this that I just thought maybe the gooey duct. Like if you know the evergreen, it just looks like a giant penis. It's big glam, but it looks kind of like a giant penis. And I thought, let's just go with the mighty gooey duct. Yep.
That counts as something. It's probably the ally. Like let's.
Well, yeah.
You thirsty bitch.
Starting off strong, ladies. Starting off strong. I love it for all the wrong reasons. Joanne.
You thirsty bitch.
That was an accident. Sorry.
Okay, I was like, do I
was confused.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, what did I say?
Girl, what didn't you say?
I mean, problematic is my middle name.
She thought it.
It's my middle name because I actually don't have one. I would think that our mascot obviously would be the Targs. Hello.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're adorable.
And that's what the hot Klingon could do. Instead of play, he could wear the Targ uniform. Rawr.
I love that because it's not only apropos, but it includes Jaden, who didn't get to play in this week's episode. Although he did, and I'm assuming he's playing somewhere with Kyle, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Let's not talk about that.
William.
I was sitting on pins and needles, hoping no one said this. Humpback whales, Jillian, come on.
I was gonna say Jillian, but then I thought you would think she's gonna say Jillian, so then I couldn't say Jillian.
That's what I was like. Oh, she better not say humpback whales. I also back up, but I'll save it in case someone else is using it. But that was the one I was hoping on. Humpback whales, it's hilarious.
A double Uno thing.
Yeah, I was waiting on it.
You put your thing down, flipped it, and reversed it. Benji.
Well, I was trying to figure out what the hell the lapwing was. Like, it's some kind of like bird, frog, something or other. So, and I was trying to think of like another kind of like extinct flightless bird. And then I thought, of course, a Jaeger class starship.
Oh, the poor Jaeger.
That would be hilarious. Our mascot is a really dumb looking starship.
I can't believe you didn't say
Salon.
Stanley.
Oh goodness. I want the new Starfleet Academy mascot to be whatever Argus is, whether he is a Baul or not, but I think it would be fucking hilarious if just a black tar blob was running around a field just terrifying the opposition.
Yar's bones just fall out of it.
I once killed a Starfleet officer, and now I'm here to cheer you on.
Has anyone ever seen the picture from? I think it was from the cruise where somebody actually cosplayed as Armis and they were chasing Denise Crosby. It's really a funny picture. Google all the keywords and you'll find it. It's adorable.
Oh God, yes. Great intention setter as always, but even better tonight than ever. The intentions are set. So let's get into this episode. I am going to kick things off. So I loved this episode. I love this episode. I love this show. I thought it was an excellent progression. I'm not doing a thing I was told to do, and so I'm going to back up. I'm cheating. I'm giving myself a little more time. We're doing something new, everybody. It's cool. And also, Jadzia, that's enough. I am dog sitting for a member of the Salon who is not on the screen, as you can see. And
so you're not just screaming at the ghost of deceased Star Trek characters.
No.
Harry Carroll just walks behind Stanley.
Hey guys, so sorry. I was
in case anyone thought we were normal, let's just clarify that right off the bat.
I am dog sitting a lovely little beast named Jadzia, Matt's dog. You've seen her on screen before, and she is a yapper. Also, it gives me a chance to reset because we're doing something new. Top thoughts. Each of us will get 60 seconds. Ooh, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this make sense by channeling Laura Thock. Cadets, we will now sound off with our top thoughts. You will each get 60 seconds. A banner will appear, and then it will disappear when your time is up. My top thoughts. I loved this episode. I'm loving this show. I think this episode was fun and funny. It had great character moments. I'm excited to get into. But I also want to use my top thoughts to mention that I've heard from some folks that they're enjoying the show, but especially on a rewatch. So I want to encourage folks, particularly older Trek fans, 90s Trek fans who want to give this an earnest chance. Give this 2 watches. And here's why. This isn't for everybody, but older Trek fans, hear me out. I think you should do what I am calling the bristle watch. Roll your eyes at the contemporary language, the different feel, and then watch it again, having gone through that, and hear what's actually said and what's actually happening. I think, like a lot of other folks, you will find that you really enjoy it. And I just love this episode. Those are my top thoughts. We're going to get into more of it. Benji, your time starts. Meow.
You're a tyrant.
For the record, this was Trevor's idea.
I get 10 more seconds. That doesn't count towards my time. Yeah, I love this show. I want to wrap myself up in it, and I know it's like it's going to be one of those shows at the end of the season where the season's going to end, and I'm going to just miss the feeling of the show. I can tell you that already, and it's a rare show that does that, and not even many Star Trek shows do. I like that they're doing everything that you would do in the Academy. I kind of expected they would do that, but so I'm expecting each episode is going to be something Academy related. We had the science snot, now we have the trick playing and the battling it out on the whatever the hell that field was called. Adore the dialogue. It's tight without feeling rushed, and the jokes were wonderful. I was laughing the entire time. I like that the Starfleet kids use strategy and science to outsmart the War College. I guess it's Will's turn. Okay.
Reclaim time. All right. Okay, top thoughts. This episode was like a warm hug. I needed a warm hug today. So I thought it was great. I thought the first time I think Caleb wasn't annoying. Benji's man. I thought it was great. I think Holly Hunter is continuing to be fantastic. She reminded me of my middle school principal, Miss Croy, who was used to dance barefoot on the lawn in front of our school with us during lunch. She was the coolest person I've ever, she was so cool, such a chill lady, and inspiring and really thoughtful and fun. So it was nice to feel that. This is shaping up to be some of the best. This was one of the best episodes of Star Trek seen in new Trek. I have not felt that really cool rush of Star Trek in a while, and this really gets to me. The characters are fun. It's great. It's lovely. I love it. Joanne, please do it for all of us.
Do what? In true fashion, I wasn't listening. So, I started out not enjoying this episode, not because of the episode, but it should come as a surprise to no one that I don't like pranks. I don't like jokes. I'm not an April Fool's kind of girl that will get you removed permanently from my life. Like I don't like those things. So I didn't enjoy that. But by the end of the episode, it did what Discovery did for me all the time. Even though I might not like the story or the execution might be a little off, they always got me where I needed to be emotionally, and or message wise. So by the end of it, I was just feeling just kind of like Will said, just like a warm hug, all warm and cozy. But yeah, I don't like the premise of pranks and jokes, so I really had to get over myself to enjoy the episode. But it ended well, so yeah, I'm not gonna shenan once or twice or again, right? Yeah, so yeah, but I loved it. So
I enjoyed it. I think what I most appreciate are the interactions between the adults, not so much the children. The I don't know, compensating the Hunger Games thing. I'm not terribly into it. But what I really liked and what I took away from this episode was that Holly Hunter is playing a chancellor who has the wisdom to meet them as they are and as a representation of the environments in which they have been reared. And so she meets them openly, without judgment, without real bias, without shame. And much like an orchid, she's kind of getting in the dirt and cultivating them into what they can eventually be. So by the end of it, I was kind of like, this is extremely hopeful. It was a very hopeful message at the end, which is nice, and we're in short supply of. So I enjoyed it, but again, the kids aren't the draw for me. The bodies are not the draw for me. So yeah.
That's a perfect segue into Trevor's top thoughts.
Everyone in this show is hot. I don't understand. Like every episode, there's someone new, and I'm just gonna sound the alarm because I'm gonna say my first top thoughts were top thoughts of Alexander Elling as my new favorite Vulcan. Hit it.
You thirsty bitch.
One.
Problematic gay alert.
I was in camp, Joanne, with not liking this episode at first. So I started off thinking, okay, this is going to be an all right episode. Then I went into, I'm not liking this episode. And somehow by the end, like the last 20 minutes, it became, I was embarrassed at myself for not enjoying it the entire time, because then I was like, this is the Star Trekiest Star Trek that has Star Trekked in a very long time. So I ended up completely falling in love with it, not just for all of the eye candy, but the eye candy helped.
I had a lot of fun updating the PGA for sure.
That
sounded way more gross than I intended it to, even given the subject matter.
You should push it for yourself.
Well,
problematic gay alert.
That hairy hottie that helped Sam out of the water, also the Vulcan, also God, yes, they're all hot. But I want to talk first, I think, about the theme of this episode and what I gleamed as one of the themes of it, and I'm curious what you all thought about either this theme or others that you pulled out. And that the one that really stood out for me was showing up for each other. You know, there's obviously literal teamwork happening in this, but the notion of showing up for the people who show up for you was really underlined beautifully with not only what was going on with Darum and learning his backstory and how shitty his parents are, but the one relationship that we got revealed in this episode that I've been hoping for really underlined that theme of showing up for each other, and that was Jet Reno and Laura Thawk. I thought it was lovely that they're together, and I also thought, one of the criticisms that would be lobbed at Discovery that I did tend to agree with is it could be a little heavy-handed. I've joked that like at some point Saru was going to look at the camera and be like, "This episode is about chosen family," but in this episode they had an opportunity to be really heavy-handed with it, but it wasn't. It was just a lovely moment, noticing this relationship is blossoming. This is why Jet Reno came to the Academy. And it was not mentioned, but it wasn't lost on me as someone who loves Discovery, that Jet Reno's wife died in the Klingon War. And here she is in a relationship with a half Klingon. And it's not played for deep allegory that's like in your face about it. It just is a lovely relationship. And I think that's a really beautiful thing to show. So that's one thing that I really picked up on, was just showing up for each other. How about you all? Anybody have thoughts on that theme or other themes of this episode? Trevor?
I'm glad you said it, because I don't want to, I'm not going to counter you, but I'm going to balance you by saying it's also about not showing up for people that don't.
100%.
And not judging yourself and not judging others for doing the same. Toxicity can be excised and doesn't need to be, you don't need an excuse to do so. Surround yourself with people that make you feel safe. Surround yourself with people that lift you up, and fuck everybody else. It's Darum's journey in these first 3 episodes, but specifically this one, where it's sort of his journey hasn't concluded, certainly, but the why he's kind of a jerk face story sort of concluded, and it was kind of perfect, because everything I disliked about him, and I didn't dislike 100% of him, but what I disliked made me want to give him a hug, and not for problematic gay alert reasons, but for like genuinely like, I'm sorry that happened to you reasons. And the people that make other people feel that way about you don't need to be part of your life if you choose not to have them. And you don't need an excuse for it. So I loved that the episode absolutely told the story that you just described, but it also balanced it by showing sort of the other half of that facet, and just provided that balance. And I think that was kind of lovely.
Krista?
I think to piggyback on that, also, it wasn't just about their like friend groups or their teammates. It was also about the examples being set by those in authority, and are they showing up, and what are they teaching? And for them, who was the authority before them? What were they learning from that? And so I liked that, the botany of it, the imagery of that, her constant kind of referencing, nurturing things, cultivating things, and the idea that when she said, I want to get us back to the old things, to the things that what we did and what we learned. And I thought it was a really interesting concept, because if you're cultivating these flowers or these orchids or whatever, you stick your hands in the dirt, and each one, they're very specific, and each one requires certain tending in this direction or another direction or whatever, but it's very specific. But the overall goal is a bloom. The overall goal is the actual orchid. And I think that her saying, I want to bring in some of the old things, for me as an older person who often feels obsolete and sort of useless, I really appreciated that she still understood the importance of the old things, but the necessity of presenting it in a way that it was fresh and new for them, that they could get excited about, but would still end up with the same result. It would still end up with the same goal of that orchid. And all the more wonderful because they made those decisions. They chose to engage. And it was a safe atmosphere in which to do that. I think, you know, Holly Hunter is playing this as a person who is the person exactly where they need to be at exactly this time. And the way she's handling it, the way she handled the you know, War King or whatever the fuck his name is, it's the way they handled all of those things. They're doing it so sensitively and so intelligently that you almost forget that it's meant to be entertaining, but it actually turns into a bit of a lesson. And I agree, Trev. I really didn't like probably 3/4 of this, but when it got to the end, I was like, oh, this makes sense. This right here, I enjoy. And now all of the rest of this made sense, and how smart that was, the way they did that. So,
Benji?
I like also that, like, even Kelrick is portrayed that way. Like he's even though he's like the chancellor of the War College, he's still like a gracious person. He, like, you know, he concedes in the end that, you know, the Starfleet cadets won. He's a respectful person. For non-Canadians, Kelrick looks like the leader of our Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, and every single time he goes on screen, that's who I see in my soul, and that is painful to watch. No offense to the actor, but it also sort of sets him up in that role in my mind. So I expect him to be this, like, you know, conservative guy who is playing by a different set of rules, but he's not. He's still on Nala K's side. Like they actually work reasonably well together in tandem. Like there's actually not much friction there, and I find that really refreshing. And even like at the end, even though like this, you know, this endangered species has infested the dorm, he's like shuts it down immediately and like imposes the rule of law. Like this is a protected species, and you know, maybe someone else in that role would have said to tear it all out and would have been angry, but it's like, no, we're law and order. We respect the law. This is, you know, this is an environmental law, but it's the law, and we're going to respect that. I love that, and I loved Ake saying, like, we want to teach them to end wars, and that leading through fear makes it impossible. And I think like even Kelrick would be in agreement to that.
It was really about, for me, she wasn't teaching skills, or the episode wasn't about skills. It was about instilling values and understanding that trust is earned, you know, and that it's not, you know, it's not freely given. And so you have to go through all of these activities and adventures together to really learn to trust and respect each other and what they bring to the table. So, you know, it's none of their skill is ever in question. We've seen from the beginning, these are incredibly talented people, but, you know, do we have the common values? Do we believe in disarmament above war? Do we believe in, you know, lifting each other up? Do we believe in supporting one another's perspectives and beliefs, even when we don't agree with them? You know, nobody dragged Jaden for not wanting to fight, but they found a way to make him part of the team. It was just that I loved every bit of that. Like, be yourself, and we love you for it. So, yeah.
Will?
No. Yeah. Oh, sorry. There's to kind of piggyback off of Joanne's point. I think the theme of like showing up, but it was like leading and moving through a place of respect, empathy, and compassion. I thought was super important in this episode, because the moment that the Starfleet kids tried to kind of counteract or to fight fire with fire necessarily with the War College, they inevitably failed, and horribly so, twice. So, but the moment they started being smart, being in like look like the leadership of Genesis, but then starting to think about how to use the skill values to kind of win this in a way that wasn't cruel or like defeating them. It was like outsmart them, really, is what it came down to. That was such a great message of this episode. And like with the chancellor of the War College versus how he approached things by just giving the students access to the transporter to kind of do their prank, but then Captain Ake leading the students, like teaching that, like the teach a man to fish kind of analogy they talked about in the episode. It was great because I think this episode was really good in doing like the thing that Discovery gets a lot of flack for. We know the crew. Like there's all this constant talk about how we don't know them. But with this episode, I feel like I know every single one of them now. Like I understand each one of these characters and like where they kind of come from. And not just like each episode focused character was, you know, really centered on don't know their names unfortunately, but the British guy. But but like you get to see like why they're all together, why this group is assembled. It's great. I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job giving almost every character a moment or a couple of moments, you know. And speaking about character moments, character development, I think the one that comes to mind immediately is, of course, Darren Ramey. He bookends this episode with his personal log / message to his parents. We get his backstory. It was also interesting for me seeing him become the captain. I used to play in a gay kickball league, and I've had a captain like him who's like technically a good player usually, but that did not automatically translate to being a good captain. Very like yelling when you mess up, but then getting all pouty when they mess up. It was like, oh, I've seen this kind of team captain before, and I'm glad that it didn't just end there, where he actually sees like, oh no, Genesis had a really good idea. He recognizes that he needs to apologize with some help from Jet Reno. And it weaves in like, it wasn't forced. It wasn't heavy handed. It felt very natural. Felt very young man going into this lesson. Anybody else have thoughts on Darren in this episode? Will?
I liked how the mark of a good leader is not their strength or skill, their compassion and ability to use the people around them to their best potential, like Genesis. So it was interesting to see how, yes, he technically was the best person, the best player, but he's actually the worst leader they could have. And then it was someone who was just as skilled as him, really, but that it was her being empathetic and seeing all her teammates and then using all of their abilities and their talents and skills to kind of win. I like that was the mark of a good leader and not just that he was the strongest and fastest.
I like that he learned quite directly that playing dirty doesn't result in winning, particularly for a team. And that was my first thought. My second thought is he looks great in a towel.
Problematic gay alert.
This mouse does not track quickly, and I will work on that for next week. So I was like, get over there, get on the other side of the screen. Come on.
It was a purposeful pause. It was fine. Yeah.
We wanted to sit with that. And on
Problematic gay alert.
I knew you were going there.
Yeah.
Such a whore.
I agree about Genesis. I think I mentioned this last week. From the promo materials, I was worried that I was not going to enjoy this character. I thought they were going in a tropey direction with her, and it was exciting to see that they're not. You know, she and Darren have an interesting kinetic sort of energy with each other. I'm not getting a will they, won't they vibe from them, but I'm getting a maybe a heated rivalry brewing. I don't know. But they have a similar enough backstory that they're building a real connection. So if they do go that route, it's not going to feel very tropey, that I was like the kind of tropey that I was worried with that character. And more importantly, what they are doing with Genesis, she's getting to shine. She is a real leader. She's recognizing strategy. She's building up her team. She's calling people out when they're doing shitty things. She's the strongest link in this chain. She's also the most well-rounded cadet so far.
Can I want to acknowledge something Chris said in the chat. The most recent comment that he was a little surprised that they penalized Caleb for damaging or destroying the drone. I actually wasn't, because I think Commander Thok recognizes that the problem with Caleb is not that he can't figure it out, but that he rejects rules and authority. Mm-hmm. And that if that happened to be a rule, or that happened to not be something he was, told he was allowed to do, if it had been Jaden, if it had been Genesis, if it had been any of the other cadets that actually destroyed the drone, I think maybe there would have been like a minor penalty. But the way that she holds him to every stringent rule, regulation, and expectation is because that's what he needs. It's the only thing he's lacking. He's very bright. He's very capable. I think we'll probably see him emerging as a bit of a leader eventually. But I think the thing he needs to learn, the lesson he needs to learn from the thing he needs to take away from the wizard on his journey, is the importance and the significance of the structure, and that he can actually probably thrive in it once he leans more into it, as opposed to rejecting it all the time.
Yeah. And I think it was Will that said it earlier, like this is another character that it could have gotten very old very quickly, but they've dialed back the I'm the outsider, I don't like anything. Like there was a little bit of that, but just enough that made sense. Like he didn't play Little League when he was on the run, and so he doesn't like organized sports, but now he's seeing oh, actually I can thrive. And when he put on his jacket at the end, it was a really special moment where he's like, I'm a part of something that I never thought possible. It was really cool to see.
I had two thoughts when he put it on and Genesis was like, it fits. I was like, one, yes, it does. And two, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Hit the damn button.
Problematic gay alert.
Those jackets fit well. The perfectly hugging of those asses, of all of the costuming. I mean, my God.
There's a lot of ass hugging going on in this series.
Yeah,
there really is.
And there's a little bit of VPL going on, and we thank you, Paramount. But also, Paramount, get your shit together. So much from this episode should be available on the store today. Like, that athletic wear, if nothing else. I mean, come on. I want it. Krista, your thoughts?
I need to get away from the biceps for a minute, and
fine.
You can leave them with me. It's fine.
Yeah, I know. It's so boring. To Chris's issue with the drone, it's also interesting if you juxtapose that against Genesis blowing out the two generators or the replicators or whatever she did. Mm-hmm. She was not penalized for that. There was no penalty in that. And I think it marked the difference between an actual strategy, which was hers, and a tactic, which was his. But his tactic was just destroy it, get it out of the way, with no thought beyond that. There was no actual strategy at work. It wasn't part of a series of things that needed to happen. When it became very clear with Genesis, it was a series of things that needed to happen in order to get the end result that they wanted. Also, can I just say, can Sam and Kyle be a thing? Because
no.
I love me some Kyle.
So does Jaden.
Yeah. Not Sam.
Kyle. Kyle is your stony friend. Kyle is the dude that just has a handful of mushrooms and sits outside and talks about a fucking tree. I love Kyle.
I think
I was kind of getting the feeling that he wanted when he was like gazing at the plants. I'm like, this bitch wants to be in Starfleet. He's on the wrong side.
Mhm.
I think Kyle is going to be Sam's bestie for stereotypical gay bestie reasons, but he does have the eyes for one cadet over on Starfleet Academy, and I think we all know who that is.
Klingon in red. Show me both them dicks.
Who is singing that?
Who could that possibly have been?
Grammy Award wanting Stan Williams.
Oh my god.
That may or may not be the intrepid voice of your host, Stan Williams. Klingon in red. Show me both them dicks.
God.
I love Jaden. I hope we get more of him. That moment between him and Kyle was super cute. The Vulcan clocked it. He's like, "Oh, what was your other joke?" It was cute. The show is cute as hell, guys, and it's really good. And I want more of it. 4 seasons at least, please. Thank you. We also
senior year.
Yes. We got some really cute moments with a couple of different couples, some that are burgeoning, some that are already there. On the burgeoning front, we've got Caleb and Tarima. Anybody want to share their thoughts on the development that we got there? Him being schooled by her was really nice.
That whole thing bores me to tears. It's so fucking tropey. I can't. Oh,
yeah, I'm not entirely sold on it yet either.
Sorry.
I'm gonna be a little bitchy and say I'm not a big fan of her.
No, not at all.
I thought
it's the face. It's the fucking face. It's the. I can't.
Yeah, you drag that little girl, Krista.
I'm gonna drag the little girl because it's not the acting; it's the face acting. It's half of the work is done with her just, doing the Diana Spencer stare. I can't.
Also, the size difference is concerning.
Concerning because she doesn't appear to eat.
Say more.
For her. Not
his bicep is as big as she is. Crazy.
Yeah. You know what he meant. Push it.
Yeah.
Problematic gay alert.
No, my issue with her is that she was like fun and quirky last week. And then her like, I'm gonna go join the war college. I was almost on her team. And now I'm just like, you're just annoying. Like there was a weird, and it's not the actress's fault. Like it's there's definitely just some the dialogue that they're feeding that particular voice isn't working. It's to Krista's point, it's feeding into kind of tropiness, and the putting her hand on the alarm, like I saw that coming 10 minutes before it happened. Like it's just like, really.
You saw it coming when he's the one that sneaks in. Of course, she's like, "Oh, I sensed you," because now you have, sensory touching.
Well,
you know what? Here's the thing. What isn't explained is why she's at the war world. Why did she choose war world? And I'm telling you right now, it's going to be this thing on the side of her neck, and she's going to do some kind of weird world exploding scream, or like her consciousness is so strong she's going to explode things when she loses her temper or something. And I just have no interest in it. It's not the actress, it's the writing. It's the one I no interest in at all. None.
I was a little disappointed that she ended up going to the war college because of a boy. That was too bad.
And then she says it's not.
You make me want to. You
but it
make me
is.
feel like I'm gonna lose control, and it's like,
Yeah.
but this Twilight, like you'd be fine.
Yeah, it was unclear to me if it was because of him or because my hope is that there is more. There's more reason that we didn't get in today's episode about why she chose the war college, because she does explicitly say it wasn't because of you. I don't get the sense in these 2 episodes with Tarima that she's great at holding back. So I don't think she would say that if it wasn't true. But I don't know. I agree. It's there's a little bit of cuteness there last week. This week, it was a little lopsided between the 2 of them. And I'm curious if the thing on her neck is going to be, maybe it's what Krista's saying, or maybe it's also potentially just like it's fucking with her personality. Like she was off kilter this week. Maybe in next week's episode, her personality is going to be a third thing because she's this powerful Beta Z. I don't know.
I fear that we're not going to get a satisfactory answer to why she chose the war college. And because at this point, she doth protest too much. The more she says it's not because of Caleb, the more I feel like it's because of Caleb. And that's really annoying. Because what I would like the answer to be right now, the only viable answer for me that will make me happy is that Occam and she have been split between the 2 schools to basically spy and or assess for their president father, which would be very interesting. And if there's a added layer of like spycraft involved in this series, I'm all in. But if it's the only other option, and it would have come out in this episode if this were the option that would have made me happy, is if she has a fundamentally different philosophy about the kind of officer she wants to become or the kind of like protector she wants to be. Like that would be interesting, but this would have been the time to reveal that. Instead, it was, let me explain to you for 10 minutes why it's not you. And that 10 minutes was spent just saying it's not you. And I'm like, so it's him? Like she just spun herself into a web of circles that didn't make any sense.
And also I'm better at basketball.
I mean, is she?
Right. Thank you.
I was like, we didn't do enough training for that because she was terrible shooting that sports ball. But I don't trust her either. I think you're right, Trev. I think there's another reason. I guess for me, it makes sense that after all that Beta Z has been through, and the times that the number of times that the Federation has clearly kind of let them down, it makes sense to me that they would want to kind of learn how to fight and to be soldiers and to protect themselves. So you would think both of them would want to be in the war college because they're a little stronger on the skill side, the soft skill side, right? But I don't know. I think time and time again, like she's demonstrated that she's not forthcoming, as opposed to like Genesis, who straight up told Caleb, hey, I took your comm badge and signed you up for the team. Like there was always full disclosure with Genesis. With Tarima, it's always like, I got to get something out of her or make me tell, I'm going to make her talk to me. And he thinks, she's just shy or being vulnerable. I think she's duplicitous. So, it'd be interesting to see where this goes. But yeah, I find her puzzling.
What you're saying is she is hiding something. No one got that? Nobody got the Deanna Troi like Betazoid connection. That's Marina's biggest complaint is that her line every single episode was he's hiding something. All right, never mind. I'm done.
I'm gonna go on there and just say that I think this is I think we're gonna have to let this go. I think she's there because of Caleb. I think that she's probably not hiding anything. I think she just went there because of him. I like the idea of them spying, but I feel like the Betazoid, that whole storyline got pretty concluded, I think, satisfactorily enough where I just don't think that's the case. I think she likes this boy too much. It fucks with her little suppressor thing. And she went, I'm scared of my abilities. So I'm going to stay here. I think that's what it is. I would love
also
it to be something more, but
Occam's not built for the War College. So Occam is not built for the War College. So it had to be her if they were going to split them up.
That kid's not even built
I love that Occam, like...
But
Occam's not built for school.
Yeah.
I love that
too. Third type of school. He's built for another type of school, shorter buses. But, yeah, that's where he's supposed to go. That's the joke. I think he's really charming, and I thought he was really fun in this episode.
He's super cute.
Yeah. I like the idea that
I like him and Sam together, but that's just me.
Yeah. I like that he grew up like obviously like very sheltered and just like does not know how to behave normally in public.
Yeah.
So, big homeschool vibes. Yeah. Big homeschool vibes. Yeah.
We also got sorry, we'll let that moment land. I also want to talk about another relationship that we got some development on in a way. We talked about this last week, but the chemistry between the Chancellor and the Cadet Master. I am loving Nala Ake and Laura Thock's working relationship. The like kind of cutesy minor disagreement, but like the way that they work with each other is so fun. Both of those actors just chew up the scenery in very different ways. I love how fucking nuts Nala Ake is. I love it. Holly Hunter is a goddamn delight, and her just somersaulting across chairs and benches and just like existing however the fuck she wants. She is 422 years old. She will sit however the hell she wants. I love it. I loved that she gave the cadets the idea and then she was just going to leave it there. Like, here's an idea. And then that dick over at the War College got involved. And that's when she's like, okay, I need to be a little more heavy-handed with these kids and start giving them the hints and like pointing out the Kelrick's eye and of it all. I fucking love her. And Laura Thock, Gina Yashere, like, my goodness, the humor of this episode hits. Like, it wasn't even a joke, but the way she was like, release the drones. I like cackled, like losing my mind, laughing like a cartoon villain just at that release the drone. Like, I love the show. Thoughts on Nala Ake and Laura Thock in this episode, Trevor?
Ake reminds me of, you know how when you first start a job, you're a little bit nervous and you're sort of on your A game. And then the more comfortable you get, it's not that you slack off. It's just that you're more comfortable being casual because you know what you're doing. Everybody else knows what you're doing. They're leaving you alone to do what you know what you're doing. Imagine being at the same job for 400 years. Like, you're not going to give a fuck how you sit in a chair. You're not going to care how, like, and also learning how that disarms other people or throws them back because they're not expecting you to just lay down on their couch and drink their tea and then criticize them for it. Like, she's just kind of fantastic in all the right ways. If she weren't 400 years old, it wouldn't work. But that they leaned into one of the best things to come out of Strange New Worlds, which is just the Lanthanites in general, is just kind of fantastic. And am I allowed to go on about Thock, or do we want to?
Please.
Okay. So my only exposure to Gina Yashere has been her Instagram and her stand-up. I absolutely love and am enthralled with both. I was not expecting. I thought this character was going to be a badass. That I was going to be like, oh, that character's really cool. I'm madly in love with this character, and I was not expecting it. I was not anticipating. I've never been anti Klingon, but I've never been like, yay, Klingon stuff. Also, I found the Jem'Hadar interesting, but I was not like, that's what, like, if you asked me my top 10 favorite species to come out of Star Trek, I would not have listed the Jem'Hadar. What she is doing with what they're writing for her is so, like, it's the warm hug that Will described this episode as being. Like, her character is that for me. I can't even put into words how much I love this character. And how much this series needs that kind of in your face, like pushing the cadets, being sort of, but that not being her one note. That then she goes to Ake's ready room and is like, okay, so why didn't you tell me about the fit? Like, they have this whole conversation about the strategy and she's not yelling at everyone all the time. That there's incredibly adorable conversations between she and her partner about dinner. That
Kokavan.
The Kokavan with I don't remember which sauce was in it, but something that involved blood and Klingons. It was just, she's such an amazing three-dimensional character in the first 3 episodes, and she's not the main character of the show. It's I adore her, and I really, really hope she shows up at a con.
Yes.
I love that she's just 0 to 10 all the time. 100%. 0
no
to 10.
warning.
0 to 11.
No warning.
11 to 12. Yeah.
Just there. I was like, she's one more, isn't she? And it's his, even just the Kokavan, it was like, it was like I'm making a declarative statement. Listen up. Because I'm not going to say it again. I mean, and I like the way they balance one another out. Jet, oddly, in this is the more, she comes across as a more easily emotionally accessible one. Like, you know, she's kind of, and she works it out through sarcasm. She sort of works it out with, yeah, sure. Why don't you try that? See, let me know how that works out. And then it's just, they're a great balance the way they've put them together. And they're both comics, and it's such great casting. It really
it's actually. I'm jumping in because Krista said that, and it started a bunch of wheels turning. But the effect that the relationship has on Jet and Jet's position in the relationship brings a lot of delight about the grief process, because the only thing we knew about Jet's romantic life was the death of her wife in the war, because that's what she talked about in Discovery. And then she was just kind of solitary and to herself. That she's so emotionally kind of caregiving and available in this new relationship is delightful, in that she used the grief of her spouse, this person that she was like, that was her person, and that person died. And she took the grief and she turned it not into a happy ending, but into her happy future. She processed it, she carried it with her, and it made her prepared for this next relationship. I know I'm getting way too deep on a relationship we've only seen 1 episode of, but there is a beauty in that story that I hope we get more of, that is very, very Trek. And I'm super excited
just think
about
the accessibility of being able to say that, right?
Yeah.
I gave up this in order to have this, and to just say it straight out. Like, most people hide all their shit. Nobody is that accessible. And she's just suddenly a complete 180 accessibility. And that it is with this 0 to 10 kind of like drill sergeant with a marshmallow heart in there. You know, it's in there. It's such a great, but it's not tropey. They're not like, it's not caked in honey. It's not so cloying.
It's not saccharine. Yeah.
You don't want to watch it.
And I'll say again, they're not being heavy-handed with it, but I will be. She lost her wife to the Klingon War. and now she is with a half Klingon. That she did not hold on to any kind of hatred towards an entire species because of her experience. It speaks volumes to the character of that character, and is a great thing to see in media.
I mean, Laura is, for me, she's the embodiment of passion. I mean, she's Klingon and Jim Hadar. So everything, Krista rightly says it is 0 to 10. You know, she is a strong personality. And I resonate with that deeply. And the moment for me, I think the key relationship for me in this episode was the whole dynamic with her and Captain Ake, because she didn't really understand her choices and could express that. And Ake, being so secure in herself and her leadership, did not see that as a challenge to her. She's just like, just trust me. And she's like, I don't understand, but I will. And was able to come back and say, "Oh, I see what you're doing. I'm sorry I didn't." You know what I mean? I mean, it was such an adult moment. It was such an like I said, honest, passionate, that I can be at 10 all the time and that's okay. And that you're not threatened by that, and you're not trying to undermine me or put me out or whatever. I fucking loved that whole dynamic. So yeah.
She very lovingly, in last episode and this episode, takes Laura by the arm. Be like, let's talk about this. Like I like Holly Hunter's choices. I'm clocking it. Like the way that she is. I said somersaulting earlier. Like the way that she's moving through this world and moving others gently with her. Is standing out for me. Like this character wanted to work with her, and she wanted to work with her. Like they talked about trust in this episode, but there is an inherent trust with them that they didn't breach at all, but they sort of bumped up against a little bit in this episode in a really lovely way.
They have two very matched, it's complementary energies that match the same intensity. Like they're both very passionate people, but their energies are like, there's a different kind of they're just two different energies that work really well together. I don't want to say it's like peanut butter and chocolate, because like the two of them you wouldn't think work together, but they both, when you want them to match your energy, but you don't want them to completely replicate it, you want them to match it so those two things work together in tandem. So I think that worked between them. And it's two actresses who really know their character. Like they've zeroed in on the thing that makes them kind of unique, the attribute that kind of holds their character together. It seems like they found them very quickly, even in these 3 episodes. Like I was a little worried that Laura was going to be just kind of this one note. I know we're probably getting a little bit of a dimension to her, but this early on, like I think the way she interacts with these other people and the way their energies kind of match, I think is really lovely. Like with, I feel like her and Ake, their energy just like is like a convection up, and it just gets bigger and brighter. But but hers with Jet, it kind of just nullifies, because it's like, like Tig, they're very like these kind of vacuums of coolness. Like it's like they're just a black hole, and it's just like, not in a bad way, but they just absorb this energy, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. Like she comes in all pissed, and she's like, well, we'll go out. Like, what's the big deal? Like that kind of thing is really great when you get these people have these different energies, and how they complement or like react to each other is really interesting. We see that a little bit in terms of the interaction with the cadets too, where that dynamic is kind of coming together.
Yeah,
but
she did.
I was gonna say.
I think she also does a great job with like she does a great job with speaking of matching energy and like the right energy for the right moment. I loved the character's choices in this episode with like the way she demonstrated what the Calica phaser can do was by shooting the guy who was late and then do not be late again. Like it was such a smart choice of the creatives to hire this actress to let this character be funny. Because that character could just be what you would think a Jem'Hadar and Klingon would be in that role. Her at a 10. But man, they did such a great job in this episode, and Gina acts her whole ass out with like release the drug. Just like so many great moments, and I fucking love this show, y'all. What have we not talked about that folks want to talk about before we land the ship?
I know we talked about the meet cute, but like we all think that Jayden and Kyle are a thing, right? Like that's going to happen. Like I wasn't just seeing that for myself.
I hope so. That's what I got from it.
And Jayden sort of rambling as he left about how he wants blood on everything. It's kind of adorable.
Yeah.
I just hope we get more Kyle. I just think he's funny. I also think it's interesting the way they, when the episode first started out, maybe 10 minutes into it, I was like, kind of my shoulders were up. I was like, this is just really aggressive. They're very aggressive right now. It's like everybody needs to calm down. And now that we've talked so much about the elder characters and the people that are kind of running the show, I think it's really interesting how they are really sort of foiling each other. These kids are very aggressive, very intelligent, but very still waiting to prove, still wanting to not so much earn their place, but like demanding their right to that place. And the older generation is just kind of very, very laid back, kind of been there, done that. We're here and it'll happen. And I just think it's an interesting thing that sort of parallels the real world right now, where old people are just kind of like, can we go back to the time where it would be okay to phase transport somebody for being late? Can we go back to that time? Because moving off of that time hasn't necessarily come with a lot of benefits. So can we, for me, that scene in particular, I was like, oh, that's one of the old ways that she's talking about, because that just is not allowed anymore. But there were consequences at a time in my life. There were a series of consequences. You knew what they were and you suffered them. And
I'm glad you brought that up, because I do think the show's doing a good job of balancing the difference in perspective that the two general generations that they're discussing, like the youth of today are inheriting a world that they did not break and now they have to fix it. But here's this Lanthanite and Admiral Vance and Commander Kelnick, who like, they are of an older generation. They have an old school way of doing some things, but they're also adaptable. And the kids are learning from them while bringing new ideas. There's a really good balance between these generations of not just being like, you fucked everything up, now get out of the way, versus kids these days don't know what they're talking about. They don't go too far in either direction. I'm enjoying that balance.
It's nice imagery for old Trek meeting new Trek.
Yeah.
And coming together on the same screen and actually listening to one another instead of being
who? Bad joke. Huh? Listening?
Will, you had something
thank you.
to add.
I had something to say. I think that this is I'm bringing back to the episode Hannah of your shenanigans. We were talking about the older and the younger generation, but like how it's the older generation has to learn from the younger ones. But like we have that moment in the pilot where Caleb is going to go fix the stuff with the programmable man on the ship, and then Captain Aki goes, "You have to trust me too." So like there's that idea where it's like there's a mutual thing happening, but she also let him do the thing that he was going to do. So it wasn't that they, what he was doing was right, but there's that idea that like that trust goes both ways, that it can't be, it has to be equally reciprocated in order for any of that to happen. So I like that because I don't feel like trust happening on either side between generations nowadays. And it's because no side's willing to give it to the other. But this is a nice lesson to say that we can work together if we just trust each other to do something. Let the younger kids try stuff and do things. Like give them the opportunity to do it, and then they'll bring that trust to you. So it's like there's a little bit of that good generational stuff happening there.
There's also a really cool there's a cool dynamic emerging between Ake and Caleb that needed the line in the pilot about him saying "I'm not him" about her son that died, because it's allowing her to take on this sort of maternal role without it being inappropriate. And he's more receptive to it because he's established his boundary. She's already been respectful of said boundary and is like, I'm not trying to replace someone. Like, I get that. But there's still this, she feels a responsibility for him and his circumstance. And she feels a sort of need to protect him and set him up for the best possible future, because she was part of creating what would have been a horrible one, potentially, had he not ended up where he ended up. So but their sort of back and forth, particularly at the end of this episode, was really, really cute, but would have been more open to interpretation had that line in the first episode not happened. So I was really glad it kind of played out. It's playing out in the fun, playful, loving way that it should, without it ever being more than it should.
Yeah, they're building it really organically. There's a theme in the theme and in this show of like building and rebuilding, letting a plant grow. The theme, pun intended, has grown on me. Like it's not the same kind of catchy that other Trek themes have been, but like it fits the vibe of the show. And I really liked that moment with Caleb and Ake at the end, because like you said, it was a little playful. It's like there is a boundary here. Like she's being motherly, but not in an inappropriate, she's not trying to take a place. And he also got to learn a little bit about her. And, it's like, oh, she had a rebellious streak when she was younger. And oh, what a legendary prank that she played, figuring that out. Like he developed some additional respect for her in that reveal too. It was a fun, playful bit. This was a lovely episode. This was also a lovely episode of the Salon. How's that for a segue? Trevor, land the ship, please.
There were 6 problematic gay alerts. There were 2 problematic ally alerts. Stan fucked up a segue twice, but actually landed one once. Well played, sir. Well played. I gave 100 bonus points to Will for refusing the daddy. I gave 1,000,000 bonus points to Zadmiral Vance for being the one true daddy. I gave 5,000 bonus points to Joanne for Lulu. I gave an additional 250 bonus points to Joanne for clocking Betazoid basketball deficiencies. I gave more than 60 seconds worth of bonus points to Benji for reclaiming his time. I gave 399 bonus points to Krista for dragging that little girl / grown-ass woman. I gave 5 bonus points to Stan for making his musical debut. I gave 25 bonus points I'm going to start that one over and use words this time. I gave 25 bonus points to Turducken for just being you, girl. And last but not least, I gave 9 bonus points to the ghost of Jadzia Dax for crashing the salon.
Thank you all very much for joining us on this episode of The Salon. We will be back next week at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, discussing the 4th episode of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Until then, live long and prosper, and have yourself a meet cute.
Klingon in red. Show me both them dicks.
All hands abandon ship. Proceed to the nearest evacuation zone immediately.